Hi, welcome back to the Gemara in Bava Kama, Daf Yud Amud Aleph. We're going to go on to Yud Amud Bet, starting from the next quoted line of the Mishnah. So, Hechsharti Miktzat Nizko, this case where I somehow enabled part of the Nezek, and nonetheless am required for the full thing. That's a quote from the Mishnah. Tanu Rabbanan. Hechsharti b'miktzat nisko, chavti b'tashlumei nisko, kehechsher kol nisko. I enabled a small part of the nezek, and I am therefore chayav in payment for the damage, as though I had enabled the full nezek. Ketzad, how does this work? Hachofer bor tisha, uba acher v'hashlimo la'asara, ha'acharon chayav. If I dug, or if you dug a pit that was 9 tefachim deep, and someone else came and added the 10th tefach, right, filled it out so that it was now a 10 tefach deep pit, that final person is the one who is chayav. V'delo kerebi, and this is not like the opinion of Rebbe, Tanya. So I'll pause for a second and note that this is Tana Edek, and this is also going to be Tana Edek, Tanya. Hachofer bor tisha, uba acher v'hashlimo la'asara, acharon chayav. So we have a brayta that says the same thing. Someone who digs the 9 tefach pit, and then the 10th person comes along and fills it out. The last one is the one who's chayav. Rebbe Omer, achar acharon lemita, achar shnehem lenizikin. So Rebbe has a slightly different opinion. He says that we follow the first one, the last one, achar ha'acharon. We follow the last person for death, meaning if somebody falls into the pit and dies, it's that last person's fault, the one who dug the 10th tefach. But if the pit just causes damage, then they are both chayav for the nezek. This is because only a 10 tefach pit is deep enough to cause death, according to the rabbinic understanding, but a 9 tefach pit can still cause damage. Rav Papa Amar, Lamita, v'divrei hakol. Rav Papa says, we're talking about death, right? The brayta is about death, and so it works for all opinions. In other words, I'll put this as a question or an inquiry. Right? It sounds like this brayta is not going according to Rebbe. It sounds like this brayta isn't how Rebbe would understand the Mishnah. The Tanya really have it in red, but I will highlight it. Maybe that's going to be too confusing. I'll just put it in purple, though, because it introduces a support, right? The brayta gives us proof or support of Rebbe's opinion. And our Papa gives us the answer, right? Is it really not like Rebbe? No. It's just that the brayta is talking, the first brayta, the Tanu Rabbanan, is talking about a case of death, right? The case where you're responsible fully for, the case where you're fully responsible if you were the one who dug that case of death. And so everyone would agree, right? The Rabbanan would agree, the Tanakama, and also Rebbe would agree. Ikazam, right? Here's an alternative answer. Lema delo Rebbe. Again, sounds like it's not like Rebbe's opinion. Amar of Papa, lemita v'divrei hakol. So same information, just a different way of organizing it. This is an alternative version. Really, sometimes Ikazamri is like a real different answer. This one is just sort of an alternative version of the same answer, an alternative way that conversation could have happened. Matkifa Rebbe Zera. Oops. So here's an attack from Rebbe Zera. The two Leika. Are there no more? Meaning, aren't there other cases of shared responsibility that could be encompassed by our Mishnah, right? Our brayta gave one example. This brayta, this first brayta, Tanu Rabbanan, gave one example of shared responsibility that could illuminate what's happening in the Mishnah, right? That's the Ketzad. But aren't there other cases? V'ha'ika masar shoro l'chamisha b'nei adam, upasha bo echad, echad mehen, v'hizik chayav. Isn't there a case where someone gives their ox over to 5 people, and one of them is negligent, and the ox does damage, and that person is chayav? Isn't that also a case where, I enabled a piece of the damage, and therefore I'm fully responsible, even though there were 5 people who potentially could have shared, but I'm the one who allowed, I was partially responsible, and I allowed the ox to do damage. So we'll say that all of this is a challenge. Hechidami. What's the case? Ilema, meaning what's the case that's being described here, the short case. Ilema d'belav ihu have a mintar. Pshita d'ihu ka'avid. If it's a case where without this 5th person watching the ox would not have been watched. Mintar is to be guarded or watched. So then it's obvious d'ihu ka'avid, that he's the one who did it, right? If it was an ox that when I give it over to you and 4 friends, I say to you, listen, it takes 5 people to restrain this ox, and then one person slacks off, it's clear that it's that person's fault. Ela d'belav ihu nami mintar, mai ka'avid. Rather, it must be a case of where without that 5th person, the ox would still be considered guarded. And in that case, mai ka'avid, what would the person do? I'm going to say that this whole thing is a rejection, meaning our Mishnah does not include this case, because this case is sort of obvious either way. I don't know if I have a good rejection color, because it's like sort of a challenge to the challenge. So I'll just do it in a different shade. So that case is not included by the Breita, that's why by the Mishnah, and so the Breita didn't mention it, and the Breita was right not to mention it, because this is not a case that our Mishnah needs to teach us about. Maski flower of Sheshet, here's another attack, same idea, right? Isn't there another case that's included in the Mishnah? The ha'ika marbe b'chavila. Isn't there a case of marbe b'chavila, adding bundles, meaning someone who adds fuel to the fire, literally. So I give you a fire to watch, and you add bundles of wood to the fire. So that's what enabled the fire to go do damage. Hechidami, what's the case? Idi belav ihu lo asla pshita. If without this person, if without me adding to the fire wouldn't have gone on to do damage, asla is to go. Pshita, then it's obvious, right? It's obviously my fault if I added wood to the fire. Ela de belav ihu asla. So it must be a case where without the person it would have still gone on to do damage. My kavid, and in that case, what did this person do, right? That's not a case of hechsharti b'miktzat nizko either. Again, a rejection of the idea that that might be a case that was meant to be included by our Mishnah, because either it's obvious and the person did damage, or the person really didn't do any damage, and so it shouldn't be a case of hechsharti b'miktzat nizko. Maski flower of Papa. Here's another attack, same pattern. The ha'ika hazatanya. But isn't there the case that was taught in the Breita? Chamisha sheyashvu al safsal echad v'lo shavruhu, uba echad v'yashav alav v'shavru ha'acharon, ha'acharon chayav. 5 people sitting on a bench, and they did not break it. And then the 5th person comes along and breaks the bench, sits down, and the bench breaks. So the last person is the one who is chayav. I'm putting this in as a challenge. Again, I would say that Tanya is kind of like the proof for the challenge, the support for the challenge. This is where he's getting it from. The Amar of Papa, Kigon Rav Papa bar Abba. And Rav Papa adds on to this Breita, or sort of clarifies the Breita, and says that person, that 6th person who sat down on the bench, it's a person like Papa bar Abba. And apparently, according to Rashi, if you look, Papa bar Abba was a famously chubby guy. So it's not just that a 6th person sat down, it's that the 6th person who sat down was actually the heaviest, and therefore it's reasonable to say that they did the damage. Hechidami, what's the case? Ilema debalav ihu lo itzbar, pshita. if you're saying that without this sixth person, the bench wouldn't have broken, so then obviously the sixth person is responsible. El de belavi hu nami itbar. So it must be a case where without the sixth person, it also would have broken. Mai ka'avit. So then, like, what did that person do? Again, a rejection of the idea that this could be a case that's included by our Mishnah, right? That the Breita, that first Breita, Taner Banan, didn't mention it because it's not a case that's included by our Mishnah because either he obviously did do it or he obviously didn't do it. Sof matnita heicha mitarza. So at the end of the day, how are you going to explain this Breita that is brought by Rav Papa? Putting this in as a question. This is a out-and-out question, I want to say. Lo tzricha. It's necessary. We needed this Breita. Dibalav ihu have mitbar b'trei. Because without the sixth person, it would have broken. Mitbar, you just sub in a shin for the taf. It would have broken in 2 hours. But basically, the sixth person sitting made it break in just 1 hour, or made it break much faster. So, that's sort of what makes it a different case. Because they could say to him, they could say to the sixth person, if it weren't for you, we would have sat for a little bit longer and then we would have gotten up. So the bench would never have broken, even though it could have broken under our weight. We would have gotten up before the point at which it would have broken. But you sitting down, you made it break faster, and therefore you're the one who really made it break. And so that's how that would have worked. V'lema lahu ilav atun bedidi lo havim mitbar. And so he could say to them, right, if it wasn't for you, then it wouldn't have broken. Right, so we would have just gotten up. Sorry, this is the end of this. Right, he could say, like, if it weren't for you guys, it wouldn't have broken with just me. Lo tzricha, right? And here's an alternative answer. Nope, meaning a different explanation of the Breita. It's necessary to bahari de samich behu tavar. It's a case where the sixth person didn't actually sit on the bench. He just leaned on one or all of the 5 people who were sitting on the bench, and then it broke. Pshita. But this is obvious. Mahu detema. What is it that you would have thought? Kocho lav kegufo dami. Kamashman de kocho kegufo dami. So you might have thought that a person's sort of strength or weight is not like their body, meaning we're not going to hold them the same level of responsible for leaning on something as we would for actually sitting on it, right? They didn't sort of put their whole body there. But this comes to teach us that actually it does count the same way, right? You're still equally responsible even though you just leaned and you didn't sit. Because in any case where your body could have broken it, right? Your strength, your power could also break it. So I'll list this as an answer also. Right, Pshita Mahu Detema is a challenge, and this is the answer to the challenge. Vituleka. So we're back to this question. Are there really no more cases of Hechsharti b'miksat code that we could say are included by our Mishnah? V'ha'ika hadatanya, but isn't there the case that was taught in a Breita? Hikuhu asara bnei adam ba'asar makalot, ben bevat achat, ben b'zeh achar zeh, v'met, kulan p'turin. A case where 10 people all hit one person with 10 different sticks, whether it's bevat achat, whether it's all at once, or zeh achar zeh, one after the other, and they all die. And the person who all 10 of them are hitting dies. They're all patur. No one can be chayav for that death. No one can actually be charged with murder, basically because you don't know who actually killed the person. Right? They all sort of played a role. Rabbi Yehuda ben Batera Omer, Bezeh charzeh ha'acharon chayav. And Rabbi Yehuda ben Batira says, like if they hit the person sequentially, right, one after the other, then the last person to hit is the one who is chayav, because we say that that was the one who actually caused the death. Here we go. Sorry, this part is also part of it. Also, mipnei shekirev et mitzatzeh, right? Because he's the one who actually brought on the person's death. So what about this case? Isn't this a case of hechsharti b'miktzat nizko? Bekatel lo kamayri. Nope. Our Mishnah doesn't include this case because our Mishnah is not talking about a case of katla, which you should all be able to translate. Our Mishnah is only talking about damages. The ibayit ema, or if you want to, you can say, or here's a different answer. If you want to, you can say beplukta lo kamayri, that we're not talking about a case of disagreement, machloket, period, vilo, meaning, just to explain that answer, right, that this case isn't included by our Mishnah because it's a case where there's a machloket, right? We have Tanna Kama and we have Rabbi Yehuda ben Batira. Vilo, no, is that really true that our Mishnah couldn't include a case of machloket? Vaha ukminan zelo karebi. But we said, right, that one possibility is that our Mishnah is not according to the opinion of Rebbe. So that's a case of machloket. I'm going to say that all of this is a challenge. Zelo karebi v'karabanan mukminan. Rabbi Yehuda ben Batira v'lo karabanan lo mukminan. Right? No, because we said it's not like Rebbe, right? Our Mishnah might not be like Rebbe, but it is like the majority opinion. It is like the Tanna Kama. It is like the Rabbanan. It's like the majority opinion. So in this case, where we have a machloket between Tanna Kama and Rabbi Yehuda ben Batira, we're not going to say that our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda ben Batira. In other words, we're willing to say that our Mishnah follows the majority opinion, even in a case of machloket, but we're not willing to say that our Mishnah follows minority opinion in the case of machloket. Okay, we'll pause there.